to another Mouthpiece movie review. Today we are reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home. I am your host, Diana.
Nick P.
And it's your guy, Dex.
Alright, so today we are discussing, as she said, the latest in the Spider-Man offering from the MCU. Who wants to give us a quick synopsis of what it is we're discussing?
Well, I guess I can give a brief synopsis of this. To sum it up in one statement, like I said, is everything that you've hated and everything you've ever loved about this movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie basically encompasses all the different stories that you've encountered over the last few years and kind of pulls them together to kind of give us this real, legitimate step into the multiverse as far as what the MCU is concerned. Very decent portrayal. I'm not going to go too far into detail because we're about to get started now, but I was very impressed. I will leave it there.
It was very impressive, yes.
Yeah, I agree. I am not a big Spider-Man fan, and I really enjoyed this movie. It was easily my favorite one. So this is the Tom Holland Spider-Man storyline, and essentially he is found out to be Peter Parker Spider-Man. Like, they unearth him to be Spider-Man, and he's trying to correct everyone finding out who he is. And Doctor Strange is trying to help him, and they royally fuck it up, essentially.
Royally.
And that's the whole premise of the movie, and how they are able to bring the multiverse in.
Now, I mean, when we're talking about the MCU, we're never really talking about deep, heartfelt, earth-shattering, Oscar-worthy performances. We are there in this very bright, very colorful universe where the characters really rely on the charisma and personality of the actors.
Yeah.
This is not the DC universe, but this is definitely the second most DC movie Marvel has ever made.
Yeah, I'd say it gave us a little bit of both. Like, surprisingly, it did have some heartfelt moments that will touch you right in your feels, and, you know, good ass acting to go with that. And I love that about this Spider-Man, that it's able to bring in more emotion than usually the other ones did.
I mean, right off the bat, you would just assume, okay, we see from the commercials, the trailers, we're getting Alfred Molina, and we're definitely getting Willem Dafoe.
Yes.
But we were still expecting this to be like a Sam Raimi kind of fun romp, which we got.
It did. It was really funny in a lot of parts, but it also had more depth to it. Yeah, exactly. More depth to it than I'd say most Spider-Man movies do.
In this one, I would say those villains came back as their selves, but definitely tweaked to fit the MCU more. So, I mean, we definitely have a better Electro played by Jamie Foxx.
Yes. Way better. He redeemed himself, actually, I think, when it came to the character, because it was just, the first time around, so trash. And
right? And
I think the character came together way better than it did the first time.
Much better.
And spoiler alert, they fixed his hairline, too.
Right.
and his teeth. Everything that we didn't like about these villains in the previous movies, they actually address, not only by fixing it, but between each other in dialogue in the movies.
Yeah, definitely.
This was definitely something fun.
That was pretty cool.
They poked fun at themselves for mistakes. It was cool.
I mean, they didn't really have to repair Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman. They didn't have to repair Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. These are always solid characters. Even Rice Ephraim's, I'm probably butchering his name, his the Lizard, he got improved.
No, not Killer Croc, his DC.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Don't get them started.
No, so I mean, there's a lot of show stealers in here. Willem Dafoe,
as always, be still my heart.
This guy, he did not come back as the Green Goblin. He showed up in here as Nightmare Goblin.
Yeah, his transition point. He did. His transition points from from back and forth between his darker character and him being the scientist was like so much more drastic than the first time around. And so he always gives great performances, but I just think that he did even better this time than he did originally playing the character. And
definitely.
He stole the show.
His motivation in here was definitely not give more storyline for my son throughout a couple more movies. He came in here was like, I want to know how much shop I can wreck in the smallest amount of time.
And it's great.
And the answer is a lot.
He was the toughest. The toughest villain.
Like, I would say, of all the people who played Spider-Man, even Reeve Carney's stage performance as Spider-Man, nobody has had as dire of a situation dealing with the Goblin as Tom Holland at this point.
Yeah.
And again, the MCU is not known for these heavy-hitting stuffs until it comes to their thirds.
Yeah.
Their end games.
And
this one delivered beyond most of them.
And you were saying earlier that the chemistry between Tom Holland and Willem Dafoe was like really good.
It's electric.
I mean, Alfred Molina, I really loved him in this one. I don't know, he was great to me. But Willem Dafoe and Tom Holland really did have such good dynamic between the two of them.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say to start the transition, their fight scene.
Well, before we jump there, I would say of all the main players, there is not a weak performance in the bunch. Now, with that being said, Jacob Batalon, Zendaya, they showed up, they did their thing. Did we get any depth from them? No. Were we expecting from them?
I
No.
like Jacob Batalon, like when he plays the best friend, and there was a lot of comedy in there, but they were like the MCU. Let's keep everything happy, joyful. That's true.
That's what they were there for.
They were the Disney plug.
They did what they were supposed to do.
Because now to help transition like Tex was doing, because whenever Willem Dafoe and Tom Holland were face to face on camera, oh boy, were you in for it.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. Even in the part with Aunt May, who freaking killed it as well.
Killed it.
Like her performance was over the top, and
well, I wouldn't say over the top, but it was like I wasn't expecting that.
Not that level.
Yeah,
not in the Spider-Man.
But no, because I'm sorry, when I hear over the top, I think Paul Rubin's death scene in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, you mean overly dramatic?
Oh.
Yeah, that was over.
I just more mean that I don't feel like I've ever, and we've seen her in other things before, but I didn't know that she had the ability to invoke that emotion as an actor before.
Especially for a Spider-Man movie. Like, wow.
Like in any other dramatic movie, I would expect that kind of a scene. But in this,
it was unexpected.
Definitely not.
And it really delivered,
man, I almost shed a tear, but the kind of tear that bends still because of a man.
A manly tear.
A very manly beer drinking tear.
Yeah, from Nick. Yeah, right.
Like, I'm just saying, that tear probably owes a lot of child support.
Shut up.
But that was a very masterful performance from Marissa Tomei. I did not expect that. It catches you right in the feels. I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, I think overall everyone gave very solid performances. I would say it was not what I expected from the movie.
Everyone played their role.
In most cases, people played better roles now than they have in any of their previous roles. I really enjoyed this.
Now, I mean, visually, do we ever expect top of the line, cutting edge CG from Marvel? No.
No, but the choreography was really good for this one. Like, way better than I had anticipated. I didn't even know Spider-Man had moves like that. And particularly Tom Holland, like, with the way that they had his character moving in this, like, I did not expect him to utilize his skills the way that he did.
Oh my god.
I never thought Spider-Man was that fucking badass or cool.
Like, honestly, Spider-Man has always been it could be you, it could be him kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, even Jamie Foxx's character kind of, gave a bit of a hint of like who he thought Spider-Man was,
Right.
which was freaking hilarious. Because he just seems like the kind of guy that could be your neighbor who just dresses up in pajamas.
Right.
Right.
But never in this MCU Spider-Man has he actually been that
Yeah, definitely.
until now. Because as a petulant child just trying to get things his way, he has made decisions that will forever alter
Everything.
a lot.
Yeah, a lot of
Yes.
A
stuff.
lot. And when I say that, he goes into a situation with somebody, with Doctor Strange, I would say, and the outcome I ain't happy with because what? That math, motherfucker. No.
Right. Is that
Beyond,
geometry?
like, beyond all of that, that is what we're used to, and now he has to deal with stuff me and you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Real life.
Like
Just
the-
the Spider-Man level. Like, whoa.
Like the
And-
consequences for him are now dire.
And Tom Holland, I think, had really good transitioning in characters, just like I said William Dafoe did when he was playing the different aspects of his character. I think Tom Holland showed so much dynamic whenever he was transitioning to all the different emotions he was going through and all the hardships he had in the movie. Like you could really feel his performance, and I think he
It
did a
was
great
one
job.
of his best performances that I've ever seen
I would
him
have
do,
to agree.
honestly.
Yeah.
And let me just throw this out there. The way the Green Goblin brought the animosity out of Spider-Man the way he did,
Man.
I want to see him go like toe-to-toe with Bane.
No, I feel right.
Jesus.
It was
Yeah,
one of
he was
those.
getting it.
Like, how old is Willem Dafoe?
Oh,
And he was putting him through that?
right.
Boy, I tell you.
I know, right?
That was insane. That was intense. So, I mean,
He's 66.
I felt like it was one of those. Wow, that's funny.
I didn't know he
But
was that old.
That scene felt like one of those. Now strike me down with all your hate,
Right?
All
It's
your rage.
Hey.
It was really good.
it was insane. Like you said, those battle scenes were crazy. The culminating scene, I would say the action was a bit jumbled. Not saying it's bad, but compared to the very clean, very precise, very crushing fight scene that came before it, it was very hard to top.
Yeah.
But they managed to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It was
really
a lot,
did.
but they pulled it.
I would have to agree. I wasn't expecting it at all, and I was very satisfied with the outcome of it.
Yeah, because like you said, I enjoy comics. I am able to discern that the movie universe is not the comic universe.
Yeah.
And like Dex was saying earlier, yes, they messed up big time if they're trying to bring in comic continuity,
Yeah.
but we
But-
have to understand they're very different universes. We
Yeah.
have to accept the changes they make.
I mean, it's the
Yes.
same anytime you do a book to a movie. Like, you have to. I have this problem all the time with Harry Potter where I have to be able to separate the book universe from the movie universe because,
Oh,
If
you
not,
I like
I-
poking holes at Harry Potter.
oh my god, I will have a
That
freaking
boy's supposed to have
conniption.
green eyes.
He's just a murderer. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But yeah, no, overall, I would have to say that this was a very solid movie, and I would have to give it probably an 8 in my opinion.
8 sounds
Easily.
solid.
Yeah, I want to see it again, hopefully, and own it.
What about you, Dex?
I mean, personally, even though there was a couple things that were missing, but that's just me being a hardcore comic book fan. I'm not gonna go too far into detail, but I will say this was probably my favorite Spider-Man
Me
movie.
too.
But I'd still
Yeah.
give it just an 8.
Yeah, I mean,
They
there
missed some
were
opportunities.
there were a lot of issues that I had with this movie.
Yeah.
Like Ned's story seemed very rushed, very pimped on. I'm like, well, that's some old bullshit that you just did. You undid a lot by sending him in that direction.
Yeah.
And I didn't appreciate it. But whatever. Because everything else that came after that, Willem Dafoe did a lot of lifting in this goddamn movie.
That's fair.
Willem
It was
Dafoe
a
did
cleanup crew by itself.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Green Goblin did a lot of lifting. When it comes to like those just little quick quips, god damn it, The Lizard was great.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
fantastic.
He was funny. And J.K. Simmons always, you know.
And my thing is, I only pay attention to the bad parts if it takes me out of the movie.
Yeah.
And those parts only took me out of the movie a bit. Everything else kept me there, kept me captivated. So yeah, I'm also going to give it a solid 8.
Which is high for you.
Now, for everyone who has seen the movie, you're going to want to stay for this. For everyone who hasn't and does not want any spoilers, I'm giving you 5 seconds to get the fuck up on out of here. Because the real shit's about to start.
Back,
yeah.
motherfucker.
You got 5. Shit's about to get real. Don't you play with me. 4. We don't goddamn warned you. They shooting in the club.
What?
3.
They about to start taking shirts off out in front.
We warned you motherfuckers to stop watching TV in the bath. It's going to end up bad for you. 2.
Right, put your phone down.
Right now. 1. You punk motherfuckers.
Oh my gosh.
The best part of Venom, Let There Be Carnage, was the fucking credits, because we got Venom in the MCU.
Yeah.
That shit was great. And then y'all pulled this bullshit in the mid-credit scene.
In the fucking blip of an eye.
Like, come
What?
on,
Like,
dude.
that shit really pissed me off.
What the actual
Not
fuck?
only did they make his entire second movie irrelevant to the storyline, but they also brought in his character, and it didn't make sense to the storyline
At all.
in the movie. The specific aspect of bringing in all these other characters is that it's a character that knew Peter Parker, and in the Venom storyline, Peter Parker doesn't, like, in this particular Venom, he's never met Peter Parker or Spider-Man.
The spell is everybody that knows Peter Parker as Spider-Man should still know.
Yes.
After Doctor Strange cast this spell to make everybody else forget, which brings in all these deceased villains.
Yeah. And even the new Spider-Mans, which, like, now I can say that
Yes.
I think they really redeemed Andrew Garfield so much in this movie. Like, we have to touch base on the fact that he was able to redeem himself in this, because he's the worst Spider-Man, and he knows it.
And they addressed it.
They addressed it in the movie.
He was like,
fixed it.
He was like, I know I suck. I suck. They're like,
No.
But you're amazing.
You're amazing. I love that you're amazing part. I love that they brought that in.
You were the amazing.
He was like, I needed to hear that. Thanks.
Yeah, no, they really did.
Spectacular.
The banter between the 3 Spider-Mans was really fun. I mean, some parts were a little dry, you know, but I get it. They were trying to bring a lot of comedy in there.
Yeah, and they did it. I mean, I don't know how else I would have been happy that they introduced the original Spider-Man in there, so I have no complaints about how they did it.
Yeah.
But it was kind of why the fuck Toby just kind of standing there?
Yeah, right.
You know, like,
no, but I did like how they brought that aspect of Spider-Man where, like, they were all like, we never had the idea of what it was to be a hero until we lost something. Definitely. And I love how they brought that all together within the 3 characters, and how they were able to, like, relate to each other and help each other, like, transition through some serious shit that they went through individually together. Right. I really like that. And
one of the things that have always been missing from the MCU Spider-Man is, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
And they finally hit him at the most significant moment.
They really did.
Oh my God, that fucking death scene was impactful.
It really was.
Wow.
I loved it, and again, like, Aunt May just
delivered. Whole movie, not just in that scene.
How did you feel about Green Goblin doing, like, the fucking world star cameraman, just rubbing that shit in after it happened?
He was the worst, man.
You're the one who killed her. Like, you bastard.
He dug it deep. This was like the best Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin, Nightmare Goblin I've witnessed. Yeah, it was great.
He was insane.
That was his movie. It was his movie. Let's just be honest.
He wasn't in there all along.
But he stole the story.
He really did, but all I have to say is that the most exciting thing for me about this movie was seeing the second ending of the credits where they bring in Doctor Strange's storyline. And if you've been following the What If storyline, they have his evil counterpart, which essentially it's just him when he goes to the furthest to be able to bring back his loved one and how far he was willing to go. And he's like really evil and turns into this dark Doctor Strange.
He went to hell and ate all the demons, people.
He did. He just like absorbs an insane amount of fucking demons.
But that is actually something that's really interesting to me, because and let's be real, let's be fucking real. When it comes to the Marvel hierarchy, Doctor Strange in the comics may be most powerful, most famous guy, but to comic readers, he's like Q level importance to everybody else.
Yeah.
He is not important, but
I just think Benedict Cumberbatch really brought more character to his character than they did in the comics.
Which is good, and I agree. But there is an aspect of Doctor Strange that they kind of touched on, but they didn't go too far into in the movie, but they did in the What If, which is Doctor Strange has so many spells and curses cast on him, he cannot eat regular food.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when Ned opens that refrigerator and he sees like all these little squirming ass creatures, that's actually
realistic.
The only thing Doctor Strange can eat.
Yeah.
So yeah, they went to the complete extremes in the What If.
Yeah, and I really hope that I can't wait to see how they do that in the movie, because just that evil Doctor Strange, it stole my heart. He's one of my favorite villains now, easily one of my favorite Marvel villains now.
Please, Scooby-Doo this shit.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, would you please Scooby-Doo that shit? Man, that was, but you know, I mean, just to gripe, since we're just griping now, the original story had Madam Web do what Doctor Strange did. I know. We're not going there, but I had to do it anyway. But if there was anyone who was going to deliver and complete in on that story,
who do you even
Doctor
think
Strange
could play Madam Web?
Well, because she was.
You know, it is kind of hard to say, because
That's a tough one.
When we think of these characters as they were, Madam Web was always been kind of like an elderly lady.
Yeah.
I say Meryl Streep.
With a banging ass body.
Oh, well, I don't know about banging ass. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Meryl Streep's not as hot as she used to be.
Madam Web would definitely get the cobwebs beat up off that couch.
But I thought she, like, that's who I would probably cast for it. Like, even in Mamma Mia, when you see her in her tighter clothes, she's not doing too bad. But even though she's got a nice body, she's got that wrinkled face, and I just like
the way that they're doing things. We would probably get Glenn Close, and it would be the greatest thing ever.
That would be.
But I would think they go more Katie Seagal, but yeah.
Possibly. Oh my God. If they bring in Aubrey Plaza as Madam Web.
Oh my fucking God.
Like, that would be great.
That would be ridiculous.
That would be insane. But you know what? There's one, since I'm a comic and fighting game fan, there is one person that we saw in the trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is Shuma Gorath, who is an interdimensional being, and he is insane. He's basically Starro, but instead of a star, he's an octopus with one gigantic fucking eye.
Yeah.
And we saw him just like rolling, doing dirt.
Some in the What If.
Oh no, he was in the trailer.
In the trailer, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I seen him in the, but I know he was in the What If, and where that goes is a whole other.
It's going to be interesting.
I'm excited to see.
Yeah, Doctor Strange should be dope.
But still, fuck you guys for teasing Venom and then having a little trip like, oh, but look, there's a piece of symbiote. Fuck you! Fuck you!
I'm kind of over Venom at this point, and I love Tom Hardy, but I'm over it. The second movie was just disappointing.
And it sucks because Venom was always, for me, he was the second best part to everything that Spider-Man was doing.
For me, the only thing I ever liked about the Spider-Man freaking show and the comics was Carnage, and I was like, ugh. I really loved Carnage's character, but I like mental health. You guys know that. So, like, the fact that he was, like, fucking cray-cray, like, I love that about him.
They teased one of my favorite things about a couple of characters that I don't give a shit about, which is the friendship between Daredevil and Spider-Man, and we got Daredevil in there.
Yeah.
How did you catch that? I'm a good lawyer.
Yeah, the Daredevil cameo was
Murdoch.
freaking great. That was hilarious. Dope. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, the quick cameo was perfect. That's all I needed.
Yeah, he defends him. That was fun.
And in Hawkeye, we see they got Vincent D'Onofrio back as Kingpin.
Yes.
So these two are officially not blipped in, but are just officially part of the MCU.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't care what any of y'all say. I don't give a fuck about Michael Coulter's version of Luke Cage. It was not the best. The soundtrack
Was good for that
was
show.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you have to admit that was light years ahead of the comic book Luke Cage that we grew up with.
Yes.
That's fair.
Light years.
Yes, but honestly, it's like when they try to show how strong a character is in a very low budget show, it just comes off as very fucking whack.
It is a little
Very
campy.
fucking cheesy.
Yeah. a
I'm
little
gonna
cheesy.
push you. Like,
How strong is he?
nigga punch.
Oh.
No, it's like, no.
Right.
I don't like that shit. That shit is whack. Come here, boy. I'm gonna throw you. Like, come on, man. There is better. There is better ways to show super strength than grabbing a door and then walking through a hallway.
Right.
Like, that's the shit. The most superpowered thing Luke Cage did was fuck Jessica Jones.
Oh my god.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say have Method Man on the track for free.
Again, all Luke Cage was soundtrack, pure fucking soundtrack.
I
Cold,
could
though.
barely
Cold
get
soundtrack.
through that freaking show. Like, Daredevil and Punisher were way, way better. Way better. And Jessica Jones is okay, but, like...
But I mean, now we get the
Talking, take two.
take two. Now we get the Kingpin that we want and deserve, who covers your mental illness.
That is the Kingpin I deserve. Oh my
It's
god.
the one that we
He
deserve.
is literally, he's my favorite Marvel villain of all time at this point. Like, out of all the movies and shows I've seen for Marvel, he's easily my favorite villain. Like, I fell in love with him.
And again, make all the jokes you want, even though he played the same character twice. Ben Affleck being Batman and Daredevil.
He did better as Batman.
This is the best Daredevil. This is the Daredevil we deserve.
It was a good
Yes.
Daredevil.
I
yeah.
am glad. Again, did
series
you
was
even
dope.
care about Daredevil as a comic book character before I forced you to watch the show?
No, because I really wasn't into it. I liked Elektra more, but then when they did the movie Elektra with
That was
Jennifer
a
Garner,
Huge letdown.
it
Oh
was
my
so fucking bad. Like her character had and how she has to transition back and forth between trying to be good and bad. Like, they did not capture her character for me at all, as like they did in the comic. And so I hated Daredevil, but then Vincent like really changed how I feel about the show now.
Like, look, let me put it this way. Jennifer Garner's Elektra is best used in a strip club to make sure all the dicks go soft. So there is no chance of infidelity when you're in the club, because we already know there is no sex in the champagne room.
None.
Okay, are we done shitting on
I
these
think
things?
I think we can be done. Well,
Fuck you for teasing Venom and then taking him away and leaving his little snot bubble like we give a fuck.
Oh my gosh.
But other than that,
Thank you for a legitimate Spider-Man story.
Seriously.
yes, very touching, very gripping. I'm Nick P.
And I'm Diana.
And I'm Dex.
Bye.
Stay dangerous. That was good. That was very good.